What's up, Omni Bros and Omnibus Collectors? This is Riley. I'm doing my second part of my, what month was it? May 2018 haul. This is all of the manga that I ordered, purchased throughout May of 2018. I'm making, this is separate from, if you watch my, just previous to this, I did my Western and American comics video where I talked about all those. So I separated this because there's a lot. It'd be like an hour-long video if I did everything. I know some people are not really interested in one or the other, so I separated them just for convenience sake for y'all. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I mentioned this in the previous video, but it's been a long time since I've done a haul. I really like doing these because they're easy videos to do, they're fun to do, and I try to be as informative as possible, not just showing off my books, but I like to talk a little bit about them because a lot of these books I've already read before I buy them, or I at least do a good amount of research before I spend my money on them. So I want to show you guys what these things might look like. If you haven't bought them yet, hopefully it helps you decide whether you want to or not. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump on in. So I've got two stacks here. The first one I'm going to go through is all Viz Media stuff, and then the second stack is all other publishers. So we'll go through all those. I've read a lot of these already, a lot of them I haven't read, so I'll talk about whatever I can as much as I can. Alright, so at the top of my Viz Media stack, I've got the newest volume of One Piece. The newest American release is volume 86. This is part 26 of the New World. The title is Volume Emperor Assassination Plan. This is basically featuring Luffy and the gang teaming up with Capone and his group, and they're trying to take out Big Mom. So this was a really exciting book with a lot of action. They introduce, I think Karakuri is introduced in here, who's one of the top members of Big Mom's pirate group. If he's not introduced here, he might be introduced like very soon thereafter. Oh, yeah, he's in here. Yeah, Karakuri is in here, and that's kind of the big villain that Luffy winds up fighting in this arc. Really, really fun story arc as a whole. Just getting to see one of the Yonko that Luffy goes up against. Absolutely love One Piece. It's a series that I've been reading since like 2003, so 15 years later I'm still loving it more and more with every passing volume, and this volume was actually so good that after I finished it I was like, you know what, I have to go online and I have to get caught up with the Japanese releases. So I did. I went online, and I'm sorry some of y'all might disagree with this, but I read the scans, I got caught up. It's like chapter 905 or whatever was the most recent one, and it is so good. The way that this arc ends and leading into the next story arc, such a great series. I know it's very daunting, a series with 86 volumes, to get into it, but there are easy ways to get into it. If you want to buy the box sets, you can usually buy each one for around $100, which collects 26, 27 books each. It's a really easy way to just get big chunks of the series for not a huge price. So anyway, One Piece 86. Next, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 volumes of Black Clover. I got caught up with the series. I actually just last night read volume 11. So Black Clover is one of the more recent shonen series that's been published in Shonen Jump magazine, or in Jump magazine in Japan. And basically the idea is that there's this it's a world of magic. So let's say it gets compared to Naruto a lot, and it's true that it does have very a lot of similarities with Naruto. But in this world, instead of everyone being ninjas, everyone that matters at least has magic. And the main character, Asta, this kid with the big ass sword and the spiky white hair, is your annoying protagonist that is, for all intents and purposes, he's useless, he's weak, but he winds up, he wants to become the Wizard King. And when he goes to this like academy thing to, kind of show his abilities and get inducted into some of the Magic Knights, one of the different guilds of Magic Knights, he does not have any magic powers. Like, he doesn't get a grimoire, one of the magic books. I'm really like blasting through this synopsis, and I'm probably saying some things wrong because I'm just trying to give an idea of what the series is. But anyway, so he doesn't get one. They're like, "Oh, you're useless. You don't have magic. You suck." And he's like, well, "That sucks because I've trained my whole life like to be stronger so that I can use magic, and now I don't have any. Like that sucks." And all of a sudden, randomly, he gets this other grimoire pops up, and it's this weird looking dirty book, and he opens it up, and it has this big ass sword in there, the sword that he's got on the cover here. Pulls out the sword, and everyone's kind of confused. They don't know what's going on, and it turns out that it's got a 5-leaf black clover on it, and the 5-leaf clover is like, apparently it points towards evil, the devil, and stuff like that. So he has access to this dark magic. And what the dark magic does is it's kind of a magic negator. So he might not have any magic abilities of his own, but he can negate other people's magic. So he gets pulled into a group, one of the guilds, the Black Bulls, which is like the lowest tier, bottom of the line. You know, they're the weakest ones apparently. And he starts doing stuff with them. And so the rest of the series, after the first couple volumes where they kind of set all that up, the rest of it features him going on different missions with the Black Bulls, meeting a bunch of different characters, collecting different things, fighting different people. And it's just a really fun, pretty typical shonen series. There's nothing inherently like terribly original about it, I hate to say. So if you're looking for something very original from anything else that you might have read, this is not the series you'd want to go to. Because it does draw a lot of comparisons to other series, especially Naruto. But if you just want another fun shonen series that's just really quick read, really fun to read every other month when it comes out, or every 3 months when the volume comes out, I definitely recommend Black Clover. It has really fun artwork, good artwork, very interesting character designs, interesting characters in general, and they've really been setting up an interesting world as well, doing a lot of world building with introducing different kingdoms, different types of magic, different groups of people, and it's become something that I got really excited to read. I had the first 3 volumes on my shelves for a long time, and I never read it, and then finally I was on vacation last month, and I was like, screw it, I'm bringing it with me, I'm going to read it. As soon as I did, I was like, wow, this is really fun. So I ordered the next 5 volumes on Amazon because I had some gift credit, got them for seriously like $2. Blasted through those real quick, and then ordered the next 3 volumes on In Stock Trades. That got me caught up. Just finished 11 last night, like I mentioned, and I'm really happy with the series so far. Really excited to read more. So if you like pretty standard shonen stuff, if you enjoyed Naruto, you might want to check this one out. You might enjoy it. Anyway, moving on, the next chunk of books I have not read yet. This one is going to be next on my list, I think, of what I'm going to be reading as far as my manga goes. Golden Kamuy. I don't actually know too much about this series. I know it's basically historical fiction. When it first came out, I was like, okay, I'm not really terribly interested in this. But as each volume has come out, the covers are gorgeous. I absolutely love the artwork on the covers here. And I really loved the way that this one looked. So that was number 1 of what was drawing me in. Number 2, one of our members of the Facebook groups, one of the admins on the Otaku's Den group, Mr. Kong Fusi, he's been reading that one, and he talks about all the time like how much he enjoys it. And eventually I was like, you know what, screw it, I gotta get it. So I ordered those 4 volumes, and I'm looking forward to probably starting them maybe today. And hopefully reading through those pretty quick so I can get caught up, so I can get into volume 5 when it comes out. So I'll hopefully report back with some information on how I felt about that series pretty soon. But moving on, the next 3 books I also have not read, and this is Goodnight Punpun, volumes 1 through 3. So you can see the beginning of the design that goes across all the spines here. There's 7 volumes in total. Each book is $25, so they're pretty expensive because they collect 2 volumes. These are basically 2 volumes of the original, I think 15 or 13, something like that, volume set. I haven't started reading these at all. This is one that I'm also wanting to start pretty soon, but at the same time I have to keep in mind that I'm going to be I need to buy 4 more volumes to follow this one, and they're pretty expensive books. The last one's not that expensive because it's half the size, but still. Anyway, I've seen a ton of people talk about how great this series is, and I had never read anything by Inio Asano before, but a lot of people have been talking about how he's one of the better creators out there at the moment. And so I checked out the first book of his that I checked out was his newest book, the Dead Demons D Destruction, which when I first started reading it, I was like, this is fine, like this is interesting. But by the end of the volume, I started really getting engrossed in the characters and interested in what was going on in their lives, and I really started to find out what Asano was going for with this book. And it was, it's kind of an alien invasion book, but it's not really what he's going for. It was more about the characters and them reacting to it. And as soon as I found that out, I was like, wow, that's really interesting. I really like the way that this is written. I need to buy more of his stuff. So I've heard that this is probably his magnum opus, his master work, and I decided to go ahead and buy the first 3 out of the 7-volume set. And I do want to read these pretty soon, hopefully within the next couple weeks, start reading those and get through those. I'm really excited about it. Anyway, a lot of people have recommended it. A lot of people have been talking about it. I'm really pumped to check it out, and I will again report back with any views, feelings, criticisms, whatever about that. The next 2 books are ones that I have already read. The first one is the Full Metal Edition Volume 1 of Full Metal Alchemist, the hardcover of the classic series. So this is the first out of, I think there's going to be 17 or 18 of these hardcover editions. They collect, about a volume and a half of the paperback material in there. Beautiful hardcover edition. Features a little bit of color artwork inside, which I don't believe the original paperbacks had. Really great series. I absolutely loved this. I pretty much bought it since Volume 1 paperback came out, and followed it all the way until it concluded in the American releases. And I was absolutely enamored with it the entire time. I've still never watched the Brotherhood anime, but it directly adapts the story here, and I highly recommend the series. I definitely say anyone who enjoys shonen titles needs to check out Fullmetal Alchemist, because it's one of the more deeper, detailed shonen titles that focuses not only on having these interesting characters fighting each other, but on building this whole universe of countries and history, and different countries have these histories with each other, and different characters have these histories with each other, and very deep interactions between these characters. It's fantastic, full of action, emotion, heart. Everything that you would want in a series is in Fullmetal Alchemist. So now that they have these very nice, very, very nice hardcover editions coming out, I highly recommend checking them out. Very beautifully built. And also, it was one of the first volumes that features the new Viz logo. They dropped the media and the little rectangle, and they're just putting Viz on there now. And one more book from Viz, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 3, Stardust Crusaders, Volume 7. This is 7 out of 10. For these hardcovers. The next 2 I think have already been solicited, so we're just waiting for the last one to be solicited on at least that I've seen on Amazon. This collects the Darby the Elder storyline, or Darby the Gambler storyline, or at least the start of it at the end. It also has Bast, Set, and all that stuff in there. So a good chunk of chapters appear in here, chapters 86 through 103. These are very beautiful volumes. These hardcovers have been fantastic. Number one, I was really happy to see Viz finally publish English versions of the first 2 parts of JoJo, and now they're wrapping up this 3rd part in the hardcovers probably next year, and I'm hoping that they'll release the 4th part in hardcovers. There's already been confirmation thrown around that they are planning on doing Diamond Does Not Crash or Diamond is Unbreakable manga translated into English, but there's been no word as to whether it's going to be in the hardcover format similar to these, or if it's going to be paperback. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully we get some more news in the near future, but I really hope that they don't just stop with Stardust Crusaders and not go forward, because there's literally decades of JoJo material that's not been released in America, and it's kind of annoying. Now, getting into my other stack, these are all books from other publishers aside from, Viz. And almost all of this I have not read, so this is going to be a lot of stuff that unfortunately I won't be able to give much information on. So at the top of the stack, I've got Animal Land Volume 11. I've talked about this series a few times in different videos, mostly I think on the Omnibus channel. This series by Makoto Raiku, who is the creator of the series Zatch Bell, the anime of which appeared on, I think, Toonami on Cartoon Network a while ago. Very interesting series. It's essentially a boy in a world where there's next to no humans left, like seriously like a handful of humans left, and he has the ability to speak to any type of animal, and he uses that ability to kind of unite the animals and have them work together instead of killing and eating each other. And he wants to create this perfect world where animals are no longer eating each other and they all, live in harmony. But there are other people out there who do not want that to happen. So the first half of the series features the main character Tarosa as a young boy, growing up, meeting all these creatures, kind of forming his own little tribe of different animals that are loyal to him. And then the second half of the series features Tarosa as a teenager. He's grown up, and it completely switches gears and turns into a action-packed, violent. Chewie, what are you doing? Action-packed, violent shonen action series, where the antagonist of the series, named Giller, introduces his chimera and sends all the chimera to attack Tarosa and his tribe of different animals. And so the last few volumes that I've been reading have basically just been animals versus chimera, and it's been bloody, gory action, and it's really actually pretty fun. I bought it kind of on a whim. I bought the first couple volumes because I thought the artwork looked cool, the cover art, and I will say it's not perfect, and the first half is a little slow, but it's a lot of fun. It's an interesting book, and the second half, if you do like action series, it does have a lot of action. I bought volume 11 recently because I had 1 through 10 and 12 and 13. 14 will be the last volume that still has not been released, but I never got a copy of 11. I just kind of got lazy and never bought it. Picked it up on eBay for a few bucks. I had stopped reading at volume 8, and I finally went ahead and read volume 9, 10, and read 11 this morning. I'm halfway through volume 12, and then I'll read volume 13 so I can be caught up for the last volume, which will come out later this year. It's been a lot of fun. I don't see that many people talk about the series, but the people I do see talk about it really like it. So if you like that kind of thing, if the idea of a series that stars a lot of weird semi-anthropomorphic animals seems interesting to you, and I'll show you some of the animals in there. These are more normal animals, but then you have ones that stand on hind legs, and I'm trying to find a good image, and will fight they're humans in a shonen fighting series. Yeah, if you don't mind that kind of stuff, then it's a pretty fun series, and I'll once the last volume comes out, I'll probably do a big blanket review of the entire series just to talk about it as a whole. Anyway, moving on, the next 2 books, these are 2 that I've been also putting off on buying for a while, but now that I have this entire 5-volume series, I'm looking forward to jumping in and reading all of it sometime soon. And that's Crying Freeman. Crying Freeman volume 2 and 5, I had not picked them up before. The other 3, 1, 3, and 4, I had grabbed at half-price books for like $5 each. $6 each or something like that, and kind of on a whim. Now, of course, I know Kazuo Koike, and I've heard of Crying Freeman, but I'd never read it before. But the artwork was very intriguing to me. I really like the imagery on the covers. The interior artwork looks good. It's got a lot of nice bloody action. It's mature readers, 18 plus, from Dark Horse. Usually Dark Horse has some really good manga series, so I bought these. Volume 2 for some reason is like a little harder to get online, but I grabbed this one off of In Stock Trades, and they they have it in stock, and it was, $6, $7, whatever it is on there. And then Volume 5 I grabbed on eBay for a few bucks as well. I think cheaper than what In Stock Trades would have it for. So yeah, those two books complete the 5-volume set, and I'm excited to go forward and read that. Another book from Dark Horse that I grabbed, this one I found at Half Price Books. Old Boy is a series I've been really meaning to buy and read for a very long time. They had the first volume for very cheap at Half Price Books, so I decided to go ahead and grab it. I've seen the original Korean version of the movie, really enjoyed that, and would like to read this series, so this is the beginning of another book that I need to collect. Luckily, I think it's only 8 volumes, so it's not that many books to buy. And as far as I've seen, they're all still in print and easy to grab. Next, this is one that I have read, Trigun Volume 2. This is the second hardcover, the Barnes & Noble Special Edition hardcover that I had no idea existed until like last year when I found the first one randomly at a Half Price Books, and I found this one at Half Price Books as well. These two hardcovers collect the material, the first 2 paperbacks of Trigun. Same material in there, it's just got a hardcover wrapped around it instead of the paperback, and it's really, really nice looking presentation of these books. I absolutely love Trigun. It's a favorite of mine going back years. So when I found out that they had these hardcover editions, I had to grab them. If you love the series, I definitely recommend it for a collector. These are really nice looking books on your shelf. Definitely will last longer than the thick paperbacks, which tend to, unfortunately, because they're so thick, the spine tends to crack and stuff. But yeah, so that was just a fun find for me, finally getting that second volume to add to my first hardcover. This one, Blade of the Immortal Volume 2 Omnibus from Dark Horse. I still have not read the first Omnibus. I got that one a while ago, but I decided that I should probably catch up because I think Volume 5 is already out. So I was like, yeah, let me catch up on this one, grab the volumes as so I can start getting them as they come out, and I can start reading them as they come out, instead of sitting here and having one volume on my shelf for some reason. I've heard a lot of stuff about this series. I've never read it, but I have friends who have, and they've recommended it and stuff, and I found the second volume for a really nice price on eBay, so I went ahead and grabbed that. I'm sorry I can't give much more information on this because I've never read it before, but I know that there should be, because they should be, because they're like 3-in-1 volumes, 10 total of these. The next 2, actually the next 3 are all kind of one connected thing. Earlier this year, late last year, I watched the Devilman Crybaby anime on Netflix. I really enjoyed it and was very tempted to get some Devilman manga. Looking up online, I found out that the classic series, the original series by Go Nagai, was actually going to be reprinted in some hardcover editions, and the first hardcover came out last month, so I went ahead and grabbed it. Devilman Classic Volume 1. This collects probably the first half of the 5-volume classic series. Absolutely stunningly beautiful artwork in this book. So I was very drawn to it. I went ahead and I looked up some of the artwork online, and when I saw what this looked like, I was like, wow, I definitely need to buy this. It's a very beautifully presented volume as well. It's super thick hardcover for a manga. The binding is pretty decent. It's not great. It'll stay open, but it's not as big as an omnibus, so it's not too hard to just hold it with your hands. Really excited to read this. And in addition to that, I got the first 2 volumes of Devilman Grimoire, which is a more recent series. I think this one was also 5 volumes long. Also written by Go Nagai with art by Rui Takato. This one is from a few years back, more violent than apparently the original, more modern spin on the series, but according to what I've seen, it's supposed to be more or less the same story, which the same story was in Crybaby as well, so we'll see. I'll read those pretty soon. I think the 3rd volume is coming out next month or this month or something like that, so I'll want to catch up with those so I can read all of that. And then I also need to buy the Devilman versus Hades volume. I think just the first volume is out right now, so that I can have all of the Devilman stuff. If anything, I'd say this has some of the coolest looking artwork, at least the old one, and the new one has some really nice looking artwork as well. So if you are into that kind of stuff, this might be a book that you'll be interested in picking up. So anyway, that's everything as far as my manga that I bought in May of 2018. Several new releases, a lot of older releases as well. Going forward, I don't know if I'll have to separate. It really depends on how much I buy each month. If I don't buy as much manga, then I might just talk about that with my Western stuff. But unless people like me doing this better, if people have opinions on that, if they say, hey, you should just separate it, it's better that way, let me know, and I might just continue doing it this way. But I mentioned this in my last video. My goal here is to be informative about these books, not just showing off things that I bought, but also kind of explaining what they are and maybe helping people decide whether they want to buy these things or not. I know that I didn't really go into a lot of showing off of artwork in these books. It was more just talking about what these books are and why I might have bought them. If I get to videos where I'm going to review these books, I will show artwork on more of these titles as I talk about it. But this, my goal here is more to just talk about why I buy them and kind of show the book itself and hopefully help people decide whether or not they want to buy them themselves. Also, my plan is every month, in the first week of the month, I'm going to do one of these haul videos to kind of talk about what I bought in the previous month. So going forward, that's my plan. Every first week of the new month, I'll do this kind of thing. Haul videos, like I said earlier, they're easier. They're easy videos to make. They're fun videos to make, and people seem to really like them. And I don't want to be like those people who are just showing off, like, I bought this, I don't know much about it, whatever. Like, I read most of my books before I even buy them. Boy, I'm shiny. Anyway, I buy most of my books before I actually read them, and if I haven't read them before, I usually do a good amount of research before, so I can talk about these books even if I haven't read them before. I can talk a little bit about what they are and why I decided to buy them. So I hope that kind of, you feel that when you watch these videos and that you enjoy me talking about these books. So until next time, thanks so much for tuning in. I'll be on the Omnibus live video later tonight, as I am pretty much every Thursday. And on Monday, I will be on there as well, as we have 3 books that we're going to be reviewing, our assigned reading for the show. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate everyone watching. Please, if you like the video, press that like button. Go ahead and give me a nice comment. It makes me feel good about myself. And please, if you enjoy watching these videos and you haven't yet, press the subscribe button so you can get updates on when I do release these videos regularly or irregularly. Anyway, see you next time. Have a great evening.